Hello friends, my name is Steve Guttenberg and I am the Audiophiliac, and today I'm here at Innovative Audio in New York City for a very special listening session. Well, the thing that's going to make it more special than the other times I've been here, which are many, is I'm only going to listen to vinyl. That is what sparked this idea. Now they have this brand new D'Agostino Relentless preamplifier. So that was part of the attraction. Yep. And also the brand new D'Agostino Relentless 800 monoblock amplifiers. Now 800, that means, that translates by the way, as to, yes, these monoblocks put out 800 watts into 8 ohms, 1600 watts into 4 ohms, and 3200 watts into 2 ohms. That's pretty impressive. But that 2 ohm spec, that actually comes in pretty handy because the speakers in this system today are the Wilson Chronosonic XVX. Now these are 4 ohm rated speakers, but they actually drop down to 1.6 ohms. Yeah, they do, and but that's at 326 hertz, as I recall. But anyway, the rest of the system, now, the turntable, because this is a very analog-centric show today, and it is the TechDAS 3, AirForce 3. And wow, and the tonearm isn't made by TechDAS, it's made by SAT. And it is a vacuum hold-down turntable, so it really clamps the record to the platter. And the impression was this record player is super quiet. It makes records so much quieter than I have ever experienced them before. Really extraordinary. Now, as I've mentioned, I have been in this room many times before, and I've heard the Wilson speakers here before, and I've heard actually the bigger D'Agostino amplifier, the actual granddaddy Relentless, which is 1,600 watts per monoblock chassis. So this is the baby. This is the 800 watt model. And anyway, so I've been here many times before to hear digital, never analog. So how would this work out? How would I feel about this music? And I was so pleasantly surprised by what I heard. Because I really wasn't sure what I was getting into. Would it make that big of a difference? Because I was always hearing really the very best digital stuff here. And it sounded great. But would the analog actually surpass it? For me, it's subjective, 100% subjective. This system is about $1 million. Now, I'm going to give a complete and exact list of all the components used in the system today and their individual prices. And we tried to figure it out, at least mentally, before, and it is, yes, around $1 million. Could be a bit under, could be a bit over, but anyway, it's $1 million system. And that sets some sort of record for me. Not that I'd be the one that would be impressed. Oh, yes, it's a super expensive system, therefore it's going to blow me away. Because in a way, the higher the price, the higher the stakes, the more likely I'm going to come away saying, well, it's really good, but it's a crazy expensive system. No, today's system definitely lived up to its high price tag in terms of the wow factor. And not just wow is in blow me away wow, but wow in terms of hearing into music, getting more out of music, out of recordings that I know very, very well, and hearing them in a deeper, more connected way. So yeah, it was a big wow. Now, the thing that struck me right away early on, beyond the sound, was how quiet this turntable, the TechDAS, is. I mean, you put the stylus in the groove, and you don't hear anything. There's no sense of it's playing a vinyl record. In that sense, that fantasy of it's more like listening to tape, yes, it's definitely more like listening to tape. And that is super impressive. And to get acquainted with the sound of this system, I played what I consider to be the best rock album of the 1960s. I'm sorry, the best live rock album of the 1960s. And yeah, this one, The Who, live at Leeds. And I never thought this was a particularly extraordinary recording, but in terms of the energy it conveys, the whole band. You know, I once heard Pete Townsend say in an interview that the band needed big weapons for a big job, that is, winning over the audiences. And you feel that with this recording over a great system. And with a system of this caliber that I'm listening to today, it takes you to a different place, a different appreciation of the music, of the actual recording quality, which is way better than I thought it was. It's not a perfect recording, I'm not saying that, or even an audiophile recording. No, but it has that way of communicating what this band was capable of. Now, I saw The Who not in the 60s, I saw them in the 70s, started seeing them in the 70s, and they were the best live act I've ever seen for that energy that they could put out. And feeling that coming from these speakers. And I played this system loud. I mean, louder than I ever really listened, certainly at home. But because it was so effortless, it just had no sense of holding back, no sense of increasing distortion as I played it louder and louder. So again, for me, yeah, really loud. What I'm talking about today is in the high 90 dB peaks, maybe occasionally 100 dB peak, which is freaking loud. Now, I'm sure many of you listen louder, but for me, that's up there because I was digging it and I wasn't cringing. There was no cringing going on here. Anyway, I felt it. I felt Roger. I felt Pete. I felt Keith, and especially John Entwistle's bass just had this power to it, this foundation to this cacophony of music that was going on. I was in for quite a ride with this system. So that, for contrast, I wanted to play a completely different kind of music, and this is a very different kind of music. This is a recording made by David Wilson, the founder of Wilson Audio, in the 1970s. It's an organ recital, all analog. Everything about it is first class. Dave Wilson was a perfectionist, and he captured the sound of this music with such striking clarity. Even the organ's lowest notes, that sound of an organ, it's just like nothing I've heard before, analog or digital. I've never heard an organ sound like this. And I'm not just talking about that it went low, which it did, but it was the airiness of each bass note that really struck me. Is that the best way to describe it, airiness? Yeah, I think so. There was a purity to the sound that you hear with live music, with live unamplified music, and I was getting that here with the Wilson D'Agostino TechDAS system. The next recording is extra special to me. It's McCoy Tyner. And I was present at this session. I was working at this session. This is recorded in New York City by Bob Katz, was the recording engineer at RCA Studio A. Now this studio is huge. You could record a symphony orchestra in it. It was that big. But we were recording a quartet. And McCoy Tyner's on piano, Ron Carter is on bass, Al Forster is on drums, and Joe Henderson on sax. And I'm playing this recording over this system, and it was how each instrument was so clearly focused and delineated. So yeah, what was this like? This was 1991, so that's 32 years ago, yeah? And I'm hearing it the way I heard it when I was standing right next to the microphone when we were setting up for sound and getting balances and stuff. When I say getting balances, in those days, what that was with Chesky, it meant moving the musicians closer or further away from the microphone. There was no, big console with faders. No, we adjusted the level of each musician by moving them relative to the microphone. And here I am, all these years later, listening to this music and feeling the room, feeling the musician's presence, goosebump territory of the highest order. Now, I just want to stop for a second. I have been in this room at Innovative Audio many times, and I've heard the Chronosonics here before, but always with digital recordings. And I'm not knocking digital. But the thing is, I just feel more, I connect more with the sound of analog music. I just do. If that's a bias, yes, I admit that is a bias. And that's why I set out today to just listen to analog, to hear these speakers, which I can't say are super familiar to me, but I've heard them now a number of times. And I got to say, the feeling that I'm getting is very different than what I've heard before. What I heard before was, I'm thinking, yes, they're very clear, they're very precise, they're very accurate, they're very neutral, all of those things to a high degree. But now I feel more. I feel more of the music's emotional pull, of hearing musicians playing together, listening to each other. That's what I'm getting now that I don't think I was getting that much of before when I was only listening to digital over these speakers. So that's where we are right now. I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling more. To continue, I went to this one, Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy. And man, and I'm playing, the track I'm playing is my old school. And I'm thinking first is, I love this music. I love early Steely Dan. Not too crazy about later Steely Dan or present Steely Dan, but the early stuff is the best in my opinion. And I'm listening to this recording and I'm thinking, it's a good recording. But compared to the Chesky or the Wilson, it sounds so dynamically compressed. This isn't digital compression. This has nothing to do with what we talk about compression nowadays. It's not hard sounding compression. It's just kind of lifeless sounding relative to the other music that I just talked about. But the music is still great. And those guitar solos are amazing. So it's a little frustrating. Like, I wish this was a better mix. I wish this was a better recording. But it is what it is, and I've accepted it. I mean, it's really all, you know. So I'm taking it on its own terms. But listening to over a system like this, I'm hearing the limitations of the recording more than I'm usually aware of. Let's put it that way. Still great music, not a great recording, but you know, you take it as it is, and that's the only way to go. As for this band, and I always mangle the name of it, so I'm not going to try. But here they are. This is the album, and I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking, wow, what a contrast to the Steely Dan experience, because the electric guitar here is so raucous and in your face, and just, you know, it just jumps out of the speakers. And the bass and the drums and the groove is so strong, you just feel it. Now, interesting for me is when I played this recording at home, I've liked it, but to me it always seems sort of overly processed and assembled from, you know, bits and pieces of sound. Here, I'm surprised that it actually sounds like a band really playing, a performance, all the musicians playing live in a room listening to each other. And I don't know if it was, but I get that feeling now, which again really surprises me. But I enjoyed this music so much more than I did or ever have over my home system. So yeah, in other words, what I'm saying here is the Wilson D'Agostino TechDAS system kept surprising me. And that is one of the best things that can ever happen with an audio system, is that every time you play a music, it's a whole new ball game. And the better the system, it seems, the more you should be aware of that. For the good, for the ones that are really good, they'll be even better. The ones that are, like the Steely Dan example, there's that. But, you know, you got to take them for what they are. There's no doubt about that. But to say that I'm having a good time today, having my way with a $1 million system, playing my records, yeah, nice way to make a living. So again, once again, thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Innovative Audio. And as always, there'll be more. Thank you so much for watching. If you dig the channel and you want to help support me making videos like this, please consider joining my Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do. And with that, I can say my work here is at last complete. Thank you again for watching. And I really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.